Hi, I'm Will, and I created IQ Bar to empower doers like you with clean, delicious, low-sugar brain and body fuel. Millions of people rely on our protein bars and hydration mixes to win their day. Turns out Thomas Keller, Michelin star chef of the French Laundry, is one of them. We've teamed up with Chef Keller to craft a bar and hydration mix that marry world-class flavor with exceptional nutrition. Our special edition salted caramel chip bar delivers all the decadence of a fine dining dessert plus protein minus sugar and carbs. And our zero sugar yuzu mango hydration mix packs an authentic citrusy punch and a mental boost from lion's mane and magnesium. The best part? 10% of sales go directly to Chef Keller's nonprofit that supports aspiring young chefs. Great taste, great nutrition, great mission. Total no-brainer.
Go to iqbar.com today and enter promo code KELLER20 to get 20% off all IQ Bar products plus free shipping. That's iqbar.com, promo code KELLER20.
Hey, hi. Welcome to Someone Else's Movie, the original podcast where an actor, writer, director, or nebulous industry figure gives a little love to a movie they didn't make. I'm Norm Wilner. I'm a critic, consultant, and programmer based in Toronto, and this is the other thing I do. My guest this week is Melanie Oates, a writer and director who made her feature debut in 2019 with the romantic drama Body and Bones. She followed it last year with the textured, intimate Sweet Angel Baby, starring Firecracker's Michaela Karimsky as Eliza, a young woman in a small Newfoundland fishing village whose good girl image is shattered when the community finds out about her secret Instagram account. The film had its world premiere at TIFF last September and opens in select theaters across Canada this Friday, August 15th. It's really good, with great performances from both Karimsky and Elmaya Tailfeathers, who plays Eliza's girlfriend Tony, another part of her life Eliza would like to keep hidden, and you should check it out. Melanie chose Blue Valentine, Derek Cianfrance's 2010 drama about Dean and Cindy, an ordinary couple going through a very bad breakup. It's the story of an intense romance that's ending no matter how hard the people inside of it try to stay together. And Ryan Gosling and Michelle Williams give us the sense of an entire universe that's collapsing right before our eyes. It's an almost unbearably honest drama, and it resulted in an Oscar nomination for Williams, and honestly, Gosling deserved one as well. They're electric together, and so incredibly sad. This is Someone Else's Movie.
It was a tough choice. I was trying to think of a film that really had like an impact on me, like as a human, but also as a filmmaker. Mm-hmm. And I think, I saw Blue Valentine for the first time. I think I was 22 and I rented it from Blockbuster. And I remember just being absolutely shattered by it. And I was 22, so I was single and dating and just desperate for somebody to love me the way that Ryan Gosling does in that movie, with a single-minded focus. You might say in an unhealthy way. But just the sort of rawness and intensity of it. I hadn't really seen anything that went there to that degree.
It is intense, right?
It's intense, yeah.
I don't think it was. I'm trying to figure out where it fits in sort of continuum of the way American indie cinema was approaching a kind of toxic romance, because we'd already had Two Lovers with Joaquin Phoenix and Gwyneth Paltrow. That was like 2 years before, but there's something else, and I think it really is just Gosling, like that sadness that he brings to a happy character that somebody can't, like, he loves her so much it hurts, but we've all heard that phrase, when you're in love with so much, when you feel so much that it gives you a pain, but he externalizes it in such a powerful way. And I'm not saying in any way that this discredits or diminishes what Michelle Williams is doing, because she's phenomenal. But she is a little scared of him in his intensity, and he's scared of himself, which is something else entirely, right? Like, it changes their dynamic from the word go.
Yes.
And the structure of the film, the way that it moves back and forth between happier times and sadder times, and establishing just how sad things are going to be right from the get-go with this poor dog. how old was I? Was I already 40? I must have been. Yeah, I saw it when it came out in 2010, and I was 42, and it destroyed me too. Like it's
Yeah.
so it's so punishing, a love story, but I think that makes it feel even more honest.
I think so. Yeah. And I think, everybody romantic love is something that everybody grapples with, is interested in, wants, or is with somebody and wants to get out of it. Everybody's sort of tangling with that in their own way. And yeah, I think you're right. It's like there's something about Ryan Gosling as Dean that is so like chaotic and unpredictable, but endearing and like so charismatic at the same time. And yeah, he definitely, I would say, as an actor, has like the more fun role to play with. He just gets to like express and express and express, and she's more like having to receive and receive. But both incredible. Yeah.
Yeah. We'd seen them both in I mean, I'm trying to figure out what the context would have been for people at the time, because Gosling was already on his way up, but he wasn't
Uh-huh.
he wasn't the utility player that he is now, where you could put him in
Mhm.
any role and he would somehow bring an energy that made you understand why these people are the way they are. Like his Crazy Stupid Love is a year away.
Right. Which is so different.
Exactly. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
this full pivot of somebody who is equally a romantic, but is like he's sort of amused and flabbergasted at his own responses in
Mhm.
relation to Stone in that film. And he was on the cover of Now that summer for Crazy Stupid Love. And so
Oh,
we
wow.
ended up, like, I think it was maybe a 15 or 20-minute conversation, but it was just the two of us in a hotel room. And the thing about
Fun.
Ryan Gosling, and I'm pretty sure I've told this story before on the podcast, so I apologize. But the thing about Ryan Gosling is that he will fuck with you for the first 10 minutes and not answer questions
Oh,
straight, and just refuse to take the experience seriously to see if the interviewer will keep up.
right. He's testing you, sort of
Kind of, but
playing with you.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
he's I think it's his armor.
Right.
Like, I think he doesn't, because he will open up and talk honestly about his work if you get there.
Right.
But in a 10-minute window is pretty good. It's a good way to kill time and get out of a round table or whatever else. Because I had just seen him do it to the round table we were on.
Wow. That's so
And
interesting.
so I sit down with him, and he's immediately kind of evasive and silly. And it's like, and I said, like, I just saw you do this to people. I know if I wait, you'll get around to the real stuff. And he looked at me and said, you caught that? You paid attention to that? And I couldn't tell if he was screwing with me. But ever since then, he's like, I'm fascinated to just watch him in interviews, because this is a guy who is so attuned to his instrument that he can turn it off and just
Mm-hmm.
be like, he's
Mm-hmm.
never difficult, but
He's aware of his power.
yeah, he can
Yeah.
be a brick wall if he wants to be, but that makes these performances so much more powerful, because in something like
Mhm.
Blue Valentine, there's nothing between him and the camera.
Yeah.
And it's genuinely painful. Williams, you're right. Cindy deals with all the things that Dean can't and won't deal with.
Uh-huh.
And so she gets the emotional weight of it, but we understand why he's a disaster somehow. Like we get the fact that he's helpless.
Yeah, there's something sort of childlike about him, right? It's like you almost, yeah, you see him sort of having these tantrums almost, but then you see him like having these huge expressions of like joy and love the way that a child does too. And there's something about that yeah, just really like endears him to you.
Yeah, it's such a tightrope walk, because he can be unpleasant. Dean can be unpleasant as a character, but Gosling isn't doing that as an actor. Like, he's kind of showing you the puppeteer, the way that Dean responds to things, the way he just goes from 0 to 60
Hmm.
and can't control his responses. Like, he feels
Hmm.
too much, which is again the polar opposite of what people might have expected from somebody who'd seen him in The Notebook,
Yeah.
where his whole thing is being aloof and reserved because he's hiding his passion. Here the passion just leaks out of him all the time, And he does. He has so much love to give. He has love to give to their child. He has love to give to the dog. He has love for Cindy. It just keeps spilling out of him.
Yeah. Yeah. Then he also, like in other times, he's so disappointing. Like there are times where, like there's that scene on the bridge where she's not telling him that she's pregnant. He's trying to get her to tell her what's up. And then when she tells him, his immediate reaction is like, well, what are you gonna do? He just like gives her this cold shoulder and this judgment and this harshness. Or like you so want him in that moment to be like the loving version of him that we saw earlier. And then, yeah, that happens like a couple of times throughout the film. Again, in the car after she sees the guy from high school.
Oh, Bobby, yeah.
And he just like won't let her. He's just not giving her a chance to speak. Like he's on the attack, you know. Yeah. So then he can be so disappointing and so frustrating too.
Yeah, just because he doesn't want to get hurt, right? He'll make sure someone hurts him first. Then passively take it, which is it's childish and it's really irritating, but again, you feel sorry for both of them in the moment. Like you feel incredibly bad for Cindy because she cannot get him to stop doing this, but he's not being consciously cruel. He can't stop doing it. Like he is incapable of growth. And the whole process of the movie is that you are desperate to watch him grow up or to get him to that point. And I want to say, I always mispronounce his name, but it's Cianfrance. It's not Cianfrance, it's Cianfrance, right?
Cianfrance, yeah.
Cianfrance. The next time I saw Gosling after Crazy Stupid Love was at The Place Beyond the Pines, right. And he was paired with Cianfrance, and he said, like, Cianfrance, said, people want him to win, but they know he won't. That's the key to both of the characters he's played for him. Yeah. And it's the sense this guy, like, we know him. We know he's never going to win because he can't figure it out. And God knows we've all been in situations like that. He's like the worst case scenario for worst case scenarios.
Yeah.
A loving, essentially caring, decent person. Yeah. Who cannot get out of his own way.
Yeah. I found it really interesting because I remember the first time that I watched it afterward being really sided with Dean and aligned with Dean and thinking like, you know, he just loves her so much. And if she would just like allow it, if she would come around, he could be like this great partner and this great dad, and like almost being angry with Cindy of like, what else do you want? You know, you have this like good man who like loves you so much. And then I remember a few years later watching it and having like the opposite reaction of being really aligned with Cindy and thinking like he's so childish. He's like in moments like violent toward her. He is like not listening to her. He's not seeing her. She's having to do all the work like of be the adult in the relationship. And then, yeah, when I recently watched it, I was just like, there's no winner or loser. They're just like two good people who are very flawed and having like a really hard time and are burnt out and struggling. And there's just like no way that they can repair the relationship like on that ground. You know, there's like no way forward for them.
Yeah. I think your allegiance shifts based on who you are in the moment, right? Like when you come to see it and when you find it, it can be a different film for different people. Different generations will respond to it differently, younger people, older people. But there's also the sense too of your own history and your own baggage. And, you know, the longer you live, the more relationships you have, the more times you're going to be in a situation that's not dissimilar. And the discomfort of it. I mean, this is always such an uncomfortable scene to watch with an audience. The scene in the motel, the scene where you're watching the least full credit that the movie never steps around you. We are uncomfortable for the emotional reasons, not the physical reasons. You are watching people try to connect and it isn't happening and it's not working. And And that scene gets an NC-17, which is so ridiculous. Just the idea that, like, oh, well, it's explicit graphics. No, it's really, it's
It's really
sadness.
not.
It's
Yeah,
so
it's sad.
powerful.
It's so sad. Yeah.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
want to look away, but not because of anything prurient, because it's just so painful to watch these people miss each other when there's
Yeah.
clearly the intention there. But I don't know how anyone misses the intent of the film after that scene, right? Like this is a eulogy for their relationship.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's something so brilliant about the way that the film was made, and it sort of presents it, as objectively as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Like you were saying, it's like you are projecting like where you're at, your feelings, and yeah, it doesn't prescribe like one way or the other. And yeah, now I mean, I'm in my late 30s. I'm in a long-term relationship. I have a daughter who's like the same age as their daughter in the movie. And just, being here now for the first time I watched it, of being like 22 and just like obsessed with wanting to be in love. It's like your experience of watching it is so different. But yeah, I mean, that whole motel sequence is like brilliant, and it's so disorienting the way that it's filmed. Like you can't really get your footing or get context for like where you are. It's all so, there's so many close-ups, like you never really get to see the room really. It's like close-ups and like all those reflective surfaces, and then like chopped up pieces of bodies that you're seeing like float in and out, and it's just so tense and uncomfortable visually. Yeah, it's just the filmmaking.
It's something too that it plays to the sort of tackiness of the location too. Like everything feels a little more desperate than maybe it would otherwise. This isn't a film where people have a cushion, right? Like the money that would protect you from something truly tragic happening if something goes wrong. And it's got a really
support systems.
A bone deep understanding of what's available and what isn't to these characters. And it's funny, like Cianfrance's next film would be about, it would open anyway with a bank robber who's just trying to provide for his wife and kid. It feels like it could be a sequel in a couple of ways.
Yeah, it's true. Because at the end, how Dean is saying, like, just tell me what to be and I'll be it. Just tell me what to do, and like I can do better. And yeah, you can see that his like idea of doing something good would be to like go out and make a bunch of money somehow, or these like sort of superficial gestures that don't really get at the heart of the issue.
Yeah, well, that's it, right? Like, tell me what to do and I'll do it is what a 10-year-old would say.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and the fact that that's what she's doing constantly, is like telling him what to do the same way that she does with the child. Yeah.
Hey, it's Norm, interrupting my own show to bring you up to speed on Shiny Things, my newsletter about physical media, culture, and the odd streaming project. Last week, I wrote about the imprint special editions of Martin Scorsese's New York, New York, Gordon Parks' Leadbelly, and Cliff Robertson's J.W. Coupe, and Arrow Video's new editions of Larry Cohen's The Stuff and Ole Bornedal's Night Watch collection. Sign up for a 14-day free trial at shiny-things.ghost.io or find a link at the Semcast Blue Sky account. You like reading about movies? I like writing about them. Come check it out.
Hi, I'm Will, and I created IQ Bar to empower doers like you with clean, delicious, low-sugar brain and body fuel. Millions of people rely on our protein bars and hydration mixes to win their day. Turns out Thomas Keller, Michelin star chef of the French Laundry, is one of them. We've teamed up with Chef Keller to craft a bar and hydration mix that marry world-class flavor with exceptional nutrition. Our special edition salted caramel chip bar delivers all the decadence of a fine dining dessert plus protein minus sugar and carbs. And our zero sugar yuzu mango hydration mix packs an authentic citrusy punch and a mental boost from lion's mane and magnesium. The best part? 10% of sales go directly to Chef Keller's nonprofit that supports aspiring young chefs. Great taste, great nutrition, great mission. Total no-brainer.
Go to iqbar.com today and enter promo code Keller20 to get 20% off all IQ Bar products plus free shipping. That's iqbar.com, promo code Keller20.
Williams' performance is the kind of thing that people discount because it's so naturalistic compared to how big Gosling is.
Mm-hmm.
But it also, the last time I watched it, it really brought home the sense that intellectually, I know as a viewer that Dean will never hurt her because it's not that kind of movie, and Gosling's not that kind of actor, and we're not interested in violence. Like, this movie is not interested in domestic violence, but she doesn't know that. Cindy doesn't know that, and there are moments where she's genuinely frightened of him, and Williams plays it with such a specificity, and like just physically moving away from him the tiniest bit, like rolling her foot so she's got more balance in case she needs to do things. Like, the last time through, I just couldn't believe how much of that I had missed the first time around. The sense that she's just telegraphing it.
She is. She's so incredible. I mean, everything that she does is incredible. She's like so transformed in each role that she does. But yeah, there's something so visceral about the way that she physically responds to him. You know, it's like just when her head is on his shoulder and she's just like squeezing her eyes shut, or when he's hugging her and like her hands are clenched, you know, that he's forcing this affection on her, quote unquote affection, and she just has to take it, you know, even though it's like making her skin crawl.
Yeah. It's not something you see very often, you know, I was going to say in an American movie, but really any, like you rarely see the complexities of that sort of fear or disquiet, I suppose, in an intimate relationship.
Yeah, it's true. You sort of see them like when they're really good and they're falling in love, or else when they're like really bad and like this is the moment of breakup. It's like that sort of slow or like in between of when it's starting to go bad, or when things are like still a little bit under the surface, that more like mundane pain almost.
Yeah.
That is often in relationships.
And it does sort of short circuit the usual objections, which is, you know, oh, why doesn't she just leave him? Well, because she can't. There's stuff happening. There are things going on, and the script, I mean, it never really comes out and says anything specific about their various income levels or what it is that they're doing. They're both struggling. And they've clearly decided, or at least Cindy has clearly decided, that it's better to struggle with Dean than without him. But again, she knows this can't last. And so there's this tragic thing, like a cloud just off camera. And the more time we spend with them, the longer we wait for Dean to figure it out. And he never does, because he believes so purely in the idea that love will save them. And it just, like, that's what the movie is. It's about realizing that love can't always save you.
Yeah. And it was really interesting, like watching it as I'm older now and thinking about, you know, being in, me and my partner have been together for 11 years, but thinking about like what it actually takes to make a relationship work long term is like, you know, to both people like really wanting it to work, essentially, and like putting a lot of work into making it work, and just seeing like how they are so like do not have the resources to do that in like physically, just like the time or the energy or like access, you know. It's just it's not good branding for marriage, that's for sure. I remember when I first saw it and thinking like, like I'm never getting married and having kids. Like, see, it just is gonna be bad.
My wife and I don't have kids. We have dogs, which is, you know, probably the easiest way to guarantee a level of calm in the household. But it's just, you even if you don't have children, you gotta want it. You gotta work at it. You've got to root for each other, I think, is the way that I would put it. And when I revisit this film, it's this and also Sarah Polley's Take This Waltz, which,
Oh
you know,
yeah.
Williams again being this incredibly tragic wife character.
Hmm.
But in that one, it's just a completely different perspective on how marriage functions and how a non-volatile relationship can be just as bad as an overly volatile relationship. And watching, you know, as interesting as it is to watch Gosling move and change through his career at that point, what Williams is doing too, where she's just, you know, starting with like Wendy and Lucy, even in
Yeah.
2008, just grabbing these heavy, powerful, potent
Hmm.
lead roles for women and just not be the same person over and over again, just not do the movie star thing and be Michelle Williams. She finds something different every time.
Yeah.
Um, it's just, I'm in awe of her. Yeah, it's exactly what you said. Just she can do this and still, you know, go home at night and be a regular person when it's over. That's incredible to me because this looks
Uh-huh.
like a marathon.
Yeah. And I mean, I think it was like in hearing about the process and making the film, it sounds insane. You know, I saw and like borderline unethical
Oh,
maybe.
so you heard the story about them living together for a bit to get into
Uh-huh.
character? Yeah, I
Yeah.
I don't know. 15 years later, I don't know
I
that
don't
that
think
is.
that would happen. Yeah, so they did the first shuttle, the first bit of them falling in love, paused production for a month for them to live in a house together, sometimes with the kid. And Derek Cianfrance would tell them to like fight all day and then bring the kid for ice cream. And then they got back up and shot the second half of the film where they're falling out of love. But yeah, I heard her say something like in more recently in the last few years about like how horrible that experience of living in the house was because it was like so emotionally draining for them and so intense. And yeah, Derek would do, you know, things like I heard he had that scene where Gosling is burying the dog and he actually made him like dig the grave for the dog just so that at the end he was like so physically exhausted and tired that then he just like essentially had this breakdown, which was the scene of him crying in the kitchen. But this these sort of like extremes, you know, which you have to wonder like while it definitely you would think creates that subtext of like lived experience and everything. Like, is it necessary?
Yeah, I
Like, would
don't.
the movie have still had that magic if they hadn't done that? I mean, it's a very interesting case study. Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. I know enough movie people that would run screaming from that idea.
Yeah.
Just because if it doesn't work and you lose the trust of the collaboration and you never get
Hmm.
it back.
Yeah.
And the sense too that what really I keep coming back to the idea that Gosling and Williams were both child actors. Like they're veterans. You
Oh
don't need,
yeah.
right? Like you
Yeah.
there's
Yeah. Yeah.
already like a commonality of experience that brings them together in
Hmm.
ways that
Hmm.
other pairings might not have had. But it just seems so odd to want to force all this stuff on them. But of course, if they started as child actors, then in the back of their mind, they might think that this is all something they need to do because
Right.
they
In
never did it
order to,
before, right? Like this
yeah.
is the grown-up role.
Hmm.
It's just this exact right time where you can manipulate the crap out of somebody. And it's
Yeah. Which, you know, even a couple of years later, you wouldn't have gotten away with that with
yeah,
them.
no,
Um,
certainly not.
but yeah, it's something I've sort of learned um, in the last few years of making movies is like you read these books, you know, about directing actors, which tell you like, say this, don't say this. It's almost like, you know, like this is the way to be a good director and this is the way to do it correctly. Um, and my experience has been, you know, they're professionals. This is like a craft and a skill and something that they are so incredible at doing. And if you're just sort of simple and straightforward with them, they can, you know, tune their instrument to be able to give you um, what you're looking for. And yeah, I just think like they're both such incredible actors. You know, and they're able to make that backstory themselves, that they do all that work anyway with each project. I'm sure it's like, yeah, it's a bit questionable.
Yeah. I mean, somebody else said that it's like working with thoroughbreds where they want to do the thing that you want them to do. You basically have to get out of their way and let them do it.
Yes, that's exactly it. Yeah, it's like you don't have to trick them into doing it, You
Yeah.
can just tell them and they know how to do it, just same way you can tell like the camera operator what it is you're looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny too, because in the end, I almost hate to admit it, but it works in this film. Like that, all that stuff does
Uh-huh.
pay off. But we also don't see all the footage of them being miserable with each other on set and just
Uh-huh.
pushing through something to get to the scene that we finally see.
Yeah.
So
All that
it's
being said, it's an incredible film that stands out over other films.
yeah,
So this is
yeah.
it.
I am
Yeah.
sadly romanticizing the romance movie to
Uh-huh.
get there. But it
Yeah.
is just, I mean, it's been a little hard to find for a while. It went out of circulation with the Weinstein Company's collapse. I think it's
Great.
showing up again here. I still have the old Blu-ray, but I think there have been rumors of a special edition coming for a while, like a
Oh
proper
yeah.
one. But I don't know. Williams and Gosling are so busy they probably wouldn't be able to sit down for more than 5 minutes unless it's a Criterion project. But hopefully more people will be able to see it. Like
Yeah.
15 years later.
Uh-huh. It's so I think for me too, it was one of the, I mean, certainly he wasn't one of the first people to do it, but it was one of my first times of really noticing that sort of like handheld style of filmmaking. That's in the Falling in Love section.
Mm.
Then there's like also Andrea Arnold who does that like so beautifully, and so many filmmakers. But I remember like watching that and that sort of um how lyrical it is, and the movement and how intimate it is. And I'm sure like with so much of it being improv, that was hugely helpful too, being able to just follow them around. And but yeah, I think that sort of approach to visual style was like really inspiring for me. And in some of my first short films, I was definitely trying to emulate that. Actually, it's funny. A few months ago, I was writing at a coffee shop, and an ex of mine who I hadn't seen in years came over, and they were like, "What are you writing? The Newfoundland version of Blue Valentine?" And I just kind of laughed because I was like, "Yeah,
And I think every province could probably use one.
right, yeah. We need more devastating relationship dramas."
I mean, if nothing else, they're evergreen. There's always going to be an audience.
Yeah, it's true. I love them. I like, yeah, just in general, I'm always super interested in relationships and relationship dynamics because you get to explore so much within there.
Yeah. Well, and that does let me transition over to Sweet Angel Baby, where all the dynamics are kind of behind people's eyes. There's not a lot of discussion about what's going on. People are already in these situations by the time we catch up to them and living the lives that they're living.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, that was, I mean, I love watching Michaela Grimsky, full stop, but watching her not be able to articulate why she's doing the things she's doing, but also know that she's right to do them and that
Mm-hmm.
she's living the life she wants to live, and have everybody else kind of be the brick wall in that one and not understand what's going on. That's like a conversation that never really happens, but it's going on throughout the entire film. So I guess, yeah, how much of that is found in the moment and how much of that has to be on the page? Like, where do you find your way in as a director and a writer?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Michaela, I agree. I love watching her in anything. She was my first choice to play Eliza, and then luckily she agreed. So I was super, super excited and lucky to have her. And boy, does she bring it. She's just like all of her emotions are like up here in her chest, it seems from the outside, and she can just sort of like dip down and grab them. I would be amazed, like, how do you exist as a human in the world that way? Just like so, open-hearted. And yeah, I think the film is very close to the script. I spent, yeah, a long 10 years writing it. something like that. But I think, yeah, that sort of like subtext is always really interesting to me. People struggling to say what they're feeling, what they're thinking is really interesting to me. And then similarly to Blue Valentine, like I didn't really consciously reference the film, but then when I was thinking about it for our chat, it was like, oh yeah, there is that like somewhat level of objectivity that like I'm interested in. You know, it's like presenting people and then allowing like all these gray areas and these nuances and them to like disappoint you and be contradictory and be different people in different contexts. And yeah, so that definitely creeps in there. And Michaela just brings all those layers now.
Yeah, that's a really nice way to put it too. Like everybody is at some point in the film disappointing someone else. Like even Eliza, and it's just, it's not deliberate. It's just necessary in the moment. Like these things can't coexist. These desires and expectations are going to be in conflict. And so it's simply a matter of who blinks first, right? Like it's so reductive to describe a movie as it's just about standing up for who you are and what you want, but that's exactly what this is.
Yeah, and I mean being able to get there, because I mean that's the tricky part, right? It's like Tony's already there. She's sort of already gone through you know, all this struggle and has come to terms with who she is and is able to like stand in herself that way that Eliza is not. But yeah, it's that like getting there that's interesting, you know.
Yeah. Well, and this is something that I've seen in a lot of films in the last few years that I'm really enjoying, which is that we're past the coming out story. And now we're taking that as read, that there are queer characters in movies who simply exist fully as themselves and don't need a monologue to explain, you know, what they've gone through or what they're going through. And they're kind of, they become much more interesting as characters because they can wait for the other characters to catch up, which is sort of what Tony ends up doing in the third act, right? Like she is just rooting for Eliza to come out the other side of whatever's going on. But the conflict is a real conflict between where somebody is and where somebody else isn't, right? Like it's just it's simply a matter of catching up and being strong enough to do that.
Yeah, and I love the thing I love about Tony is like she is so strong in her sense of self, and then it's only when she starts to sacrifice that sense of self in a couple of instances with Eliza that then she knows she has to stop. You know, this is like the line in the sand where she finds herself sort of like sacrificing her sense of self, but she has to then separate and allow Eliza to deal with it.
Yeah. There's compromise, and then there's the stuff that you can't do, which is again like that's Blue Valentine, right? Like it's all about two people who can't meet in the middle because the idea of what the middle is different for both of them. And there's sort of essential things that will be lost in the middle, you know. So I mean, you sort of said that you found that you'd been leaning on Blue Valentine a little in creating Sweet Angel. Was it overt at the time? Did you know when you were putting it together that it was in there?
No, I didn't realize at the time, which is funny. But now, because I just rewatched it, and it was really interesting to see, especially in the way we were talking about Dean in you know, just being disappointing in the way that he behaves sometimes. I find like, even now when I watch Sweet Angel Baby, I'm like, there are times I'm shaking my head at Eliza, you know, because you just want her to be able to do the right thing or the good thing or the true thing, but she's not there yet.
Yeah. I guess the trick is to leave the audience hoping that she'll get better at being herself.
Yeah. Which, you know, that's what was interesting to me, and like the character is that she's not just like the good, she's not just good. She doesn't just like do the good thing all the time. Like sometimes she's her own worst enemy. Sometimes she's the one standing in her own way, you know. It's like yeah, those complexities.
Yeah, that's why we go to the movies.
Yeah, that's why I go anyway, just to have my heart ripped out.
My thanks to Melanie Oates, whose excellent new movie Sweet Angel Baby opens in select Canadian theaters this Friday, August 15th. Thanks also to Ali Lemire Shedden. She knows what she did. You can find Melanie on Instagram at mel.anie.oates, mel.anie.oates, and you can find Blue Valentine on Blu-ray and DVD, though you may have to do a little digging. Both the US and Canadian releases are out of print, but you can find them in the used bins. The movie is streaming for free on Hoopla and Plex in the US and Canada, and on Fubu and the CW in the US, and CBC Gem, CTV, and Lionsgate Plus in Canada as well, and available to rent or buy on various VOD services across North America. You can find me on Blue Sky at Norm Wilner, and you can find this podcast there at Semcast, SEMcast, and on the web at someoneelsesmovie.com. The first year of the show is still available for just $20 at payhip.com/Semcast. That's the first 52 episodes of Someone Else's Movie, 41 of which aren't currently available anywhere else. And check out my newsletter, Shiny Things, at shiny-things.ghost.io. I think you'll enjoy it. Our theme song is by The Last Year. If you like it, or the show in general, please say so. Leave a review wherever you've been listening. Every little bit helps. It truly does. And check out the other shows on the Frequency Podcast Network while you're doing that. Stay safe, watch movies, get all the boosters. I'll see you next week.
Hi, I'm Will, and I created IQ Bar to empower doers like you with clean, delicious, low-sugar brain and body fuel. Millions of people rely on our protein bars and hydration mixes to win their day. Turns out Thomas Keller, Michelin star chef of the French Laundry, is one of them. We've teamed up with Chef Keller to craft a bar and hydration mix that marry world-class flavor with exceptional nutrition. Our special edition salted caramel chip bar delivers all the decadence of a fine dining dessert plus protein minus sugar and carbs. And our zero sugar yuzu mango hydration mix packs an authentic citrusy punch and a mental boost from lion's mane and magnesium. The best part? 10% of sales go directly to Chef Keller's nonprofit that supports aspiring young chefs. Great taste, great nutrition, great mission. Total no-brainer.
Go to iqbar.com today and enter promo code KELLER20 to get 20% off all IQ Bar products plus free shipping. That's iqbar.com, promo code KELLER20.